Thanks for staying with us. Now, the true mark of a leader is the willingness to stick with a bold course of action, an unconventional business strategy, a unique product developmental roadmap, a controversial marketing plan, even as the rest of the world wonders why you're not matching in step with the status quo. In other words, real leaders are happy to zig while others zag. They understand that in an era of hyper competition and non-stop disruption, the only way to stand out from the crowd is to stand for something special. This is an excerpt that we found from an article, Do You Pass the Leadership Test by Bill Taylor. Now, having said what I have read out, and keeping that in mind as a benchmark for leadership, right? Presidency 2023. Who amongst these candidates that I'm going to pull out, if they can show the pictures of these people, because we found this picture very interesting. So who among these candidates would you be rooting for in 2023? So there's Bola Tinubu, there's Yemi Osinbajo, there's Yahaya Bello, Rochas Okorocha, Rotimi Amechi, there's Governor
Goodwill Akpabio,
there's Atiku, there's Tambuwal, Bukola Saraki, Peter Obi, Bola Mohammed, and Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. Well, these are the ones that there are speculations everywhere. We don't know about the other people that might want to come out later, but this is for now. Speculations that is going around everywhere. So please, let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. So this 2023 election matter, I want to start with the people that are running away from the topic. So let me come to Uti Elu first.
Okay, good.
Number one.
Good strategy. Because I thought you were coming to me.
Number one,
Uti is a line.
Uti just left the WhatsApp.
You want to leave the chat?
You know me, I stay away from this conversation.
I know.
What I would say is that this picture raises for me a larger problem. In organizations, at least serious organizations, there's a serious focus on succession planning, right? So there's that grooming of leaders, there's that focus on identifying leaders, identifying people who can take up the mantle, and they're being trained over a period of time. They're being groomed, exposed to the things they're supposed to be exposed to, so that they're ready for leadership when that time comes. Now, when you look at this list, these are all recurring names. There's no, I think with the exception for me, in full disclosure, I think with the exception of Bola Mohammed, right? I think I'm very familiar with all the other names on this list. And herein lies the problem, because we want different. But do we actually have different that can step up? So I won't give my opinion on, because in truth, I try to refrain from having one. But that for me is the larger problem, because when we keep saying we want change, when we're circulating amongst the same set of people, right, there's a problem. And that means that for us, we need to have a long-range strategy, right? We need to start to think, we have this narrative where we always talk about the elites. Then the youth come and say they don't have opportunities. But we need to be able to start to look holistically at this game, because it is a game. It's like a chess game, right? And you're playing with master strategists. We need to start to understand that. We need to start to think, not 2023 elections, maybe not even 2027. We need to start thinking that far ahead. Because when you look at other countries that have these institutions, when you look at their presidents, you see how long they've been in the game.
Exactly.
You see how they've traveled along that trajectory. Very rarely do people just sort of appear and they want to become president, which is what we have, right? We have the old school or the old guard, which is what we have on this poster, and the new guys who nobody knows, who might pop up every 4 years, or in the game of politics, in the game of governance, they haven't built up a profile for themselves. We don't know who they are. We don't know what they stand for. And then they come out at election time saying they're the new generation. Well, what do we know that you have to offer? So that's all I would say at this point. That's for me, the thing that stuck out to me when I saw this picture was not really an opinion on the people in the picture, but just a larger problem that we have that is evident.
I really love what you said when you even started the conversation, when you said that do we even have someone that is different that can actually step up, to the challenge, to the plate. That is for me the biggest worry that I have. So when I saw this picture, I just put my hand on my head and said, God help us. if this is the true reality of the candidates,
the qualified,
thank you, candidates, we won't really call it qualified, candidates that are available for this presidency seat in 2023, then God will help us in this country. So I like the idea of fresh. I like the idea of new. I like the idea of charting a course that nobody has walked through that path. So, the fact that we don't even see something like that in this picture that has been put out there, that's going round to say, oh, these are the potential for 2023 is worrisome. But let me come back to the question for today. The ideal, you understand? If we look at the picture, and we are not even trying to criticize individuals and all of that. Look at them generally. Do you see an ideal president amidst these crop of faces that are here?
Well, now it becomes subjective. How do you define who's an ideal candidate? Is it their years in experience? Is it their pedigree? Is it their past record? It all goes down to the seat of the presidency. For one, is not something that a random person can acquire.
So can I help you define it so you can continue the conversation?
Okay.
What is ideal for me as a citizen, and I think I will be speaking for a lot of Nigerians. We already know the challenges that Nigeria faces today. Serious insecurity issues with what's called infrastructure, issues with economic issues that we have. We have issues with our institution, education, healthcare. So the ideal candidate will be someone that has a clear vision as to how to move Nigeria from point A to where we want to go to in our dream world. So,
well, if that's the parameter around which we're defining an ideal candidate, you would see that a number of these people have once held offices, which goes to say that let's assume the fact that you've been part of something is proof that you have experience. So they've been in governance, they've run offices. How credible they were is what is contestable, right? But the fact is, based on what you mentioned, the terms of being identified as a qualified candidate, a good number of them, we're trying to analyze, right? Yes. We're not trying to pick holes in anybody's character. No. A good number of them, based on that list, have had experience in governance. If they're not qualified based on their past record is another thing that we're going to go through in debates. But based on that list, we can say a number of them have the credibility to run for that office.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, so Norma, let me come to you.
Okay, so what came to mind when I saw this question, who is an ideal or who's your ideal president? A few things on leadership, qualities. So the picture, like I said, that comes to mind are a few things, a few qualities that I would see. And I don't know about the rest of Nigeria, but this is me expressing what I want to be able to see in a leader. I want to be able to see a leader that is empathetic towards the people that they're leading. I want to see a leader who is able to lead by example. It's not a do what I say, but do what I do. So you are taking the lead in showing the people direction that you are taking. Sometimes may not even be the popular opinion, but if you are visionary, you are able to show them where you are going with what you're doing. And they can see progress, they can see development with what you are doing, right? I see integrity. That means your word is your bond. You are able to hold yourself accountable, and the people that you're leading have the voice to hold you accountable to the things that you have promised or that you have given your word that you can deliver upon. I also see a leader who, as a person who, when he knows that he's falling short of the responsibilities that he has showcased himself to be able to deliver upon, when he sees that he's not able, he has the ability to express that he is not able.
Ability to own up.
He is able to own up to mistakes, and he is even able to take what necessary actions that require to show him as a person of integrity.
That he's vulnerable as well.
Absolutely. I see a leader as someone who is humble, who is able to receive feedback from the opinion of people who seemingly matter to him. And I'm not just talking about his advisors or the people that surround him, but also the people that he's leading. His followers are able to give feedback on your progress, and you're able to take this feedback and do something about it, right? I see emotional intelligence playing in the scheme of things. Sometimes there are things that people would say that you would not be happy about, but you are able to empathize. You are able to motivate. You are able to inspire, like the quotes that we started off with said. So these are some of the qualities that I want to be able to see in the person who says he or she is my leader, by way of presidency, by way of governorship, whatever it is. Now, if I'm expecting to see these things, I like we have established, it's not a case of pointing fingers now, but these are things that we want to be able to say come 2023, when people are going to cast their votes. People should be able to see a picture of where in the next few years that you are going to hold office, that the trajectory, where you are taking us to. Is it possible for me to see myself as a citizen of this country in that picture?
Thank you, Norma Ifana. I was going to add to your list an entrepreneurial mindset.
Encourage.
That sees Nigeria as a business that must be profitable. Do you understand? Not just seeing Nigeria as where I can just go and just do whatever it is I like. The business of the country has to be profitable. That is also
see the country as a business in itself.
You must have that entrepreneurial mindset, but that's the ideal. But you know what? We're going to take a break because we want to open our phone lines early enough today to hear what you have to say. Who is your ideal leader? And looking at this list, please. Well, I will tell you when I come back from break. Don't insult anybody. We're not here to insult anybody. But we'll be right back. Stay with us. All right, if you just tuned in, it's our ladies' night out, and we are asking, who is your ideal candidate, presidential candidate for 2023? Please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. Our phone line is also now open. Please, you do not insult anybody when you're calling. When you call, turn off the volume of your television set so we can hear you clearly. We can hear ourselves. And the number to call is 070-2500-7749. 070-2500-7749. So I would like for them to put back that picture. So in case you just tuned in and you've not seen the picture of who we're referring to, look at that picture again. Look at it very well. Muse on it. And let us see, does anyone here look like the president that you're looking forward to seeing?
2023.
Being sworn in as the president come 2023. Look at the picture very clearly. Okay, so okay. Peter will not even let us drink water. Peter, welcome. Water, Peter.
Good evening.
Hi.
Good evening.
Thank you for calling. Let's hear what you have to say.
Difficult question, but it is very simple for me to answer. The beautiful one has not yet been born in this country.
Okay.
With the system that we have, from 1999, maybe after 1966 cool down to 1999, the only person that would have advocated for will have been MKO was late. So let me leave the past.
Okay.
From that list, if I want to take anybody on a scale of 10, which is 3/10, I will take the Vice President of Peter Obi. But I got so disappointed with the Pandora Papers with Peter Obi because you cannot claim you love your country and you pay your tax somewhere else. But no man is a saint when it comes to issues like that. But he has the capacity and the competence to pick anybody from the list. Then the Vice President has shown leadership anytime he has been given a mantle of leadership to rule this country. But the truth of the matter is that what we have on ground now, we have a very strong cabal of leaders that are selfish, that has hijacked the system, that will still win the 2023 election. I don't want to call names, but I'm a student of research. I'm a student of data. There are some things you put on ground. You know the projection of what will happen in the next 18 months or in the next 24 months. The people that will rule this country for the next 16 or 24 years is still within the same age cabal, and with the kind of constitution, and with the way we have a problem with leadership and followership. It's a two-way thing. I love the way Norma was describing very well the kind of leader that we want, but he is a mirage. We don't have that kind of person in Nigeria. We must evolve. For us to evolve, we must do the right thing. And we must begin to know why we are citizens of this country, to pick the kind of leaders that will rule this country. We don't have anybody that will move us to the Eldorado that we feel that can move this country forward. Let's just still remain where we are.
Oh, wow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wow, Peter. Thank you.
Very apt.
Can I respond to Peter's comments?
Yeah.
I must appreciate Peter for bringing that reality. As much as this is my ideal understanding of who I want to lead me, I know that we have a problem on ground. And it still remains a mirage because we have not deliberately and intentionally started sowing the kind of seeds that will reap the kind of leadership that we're looking to. And as long as we continue to depend on the crop of potential leaders that we have now, we are not going to arrive there. It's a problem. It's a problem if we continue to what's the word again? If we continue to reshuffle amongst the people that we have. The question for me is, does that mean that, I'm not saying anything will happen to anybody, but if these people are no more, where are we going to be as a country?
Something different will happen.
Nature
abhors the vacuum.
Right?
Let me take, I think Loma the Prophet from Port Harcourt.
Okay, yes.
There's another phone call.
Peter scored 3/10, our Vice President. Hi. Loma the Prophet, are you there? Thank you for calling. From Abia. Are you there? You're live.
Yeah. Good evening, my sister.
Thank you for calling. Good evening.
This is long.
Thank you.
I've got a picture of the people. Now, though there will be no answer, I am not the type. But I would have loved the Vice President, the current Vice President. But I have seen him as somebody that is speak when it is time to take a firm decision. Now you go to, what do we call him? Akab, you made a little mistake. Now they gave him the minister for NDDC and so. Now, talking to the man who I think will be my idol president, based on the analysis one of our sisters here just roll out, which made me, I just cut out somebody who, if you give her a class to teach, she will teach very well. It's who good luck Jonathan. You see that man? It is one of the people that if you give him the leadership of this country, one, he can honor when he makes a mistake. He can honor. And remember, he said, the blood of Nigeria. I don't know the way he put it. You know what he said about people losing their blood in the election.
True.
No leader has ever done that. No president has ever made that statement. But he said he doesn't want anybody to lose his life. So
True.
these are the type of people we want.
Thank you.
Not people that they have given them opportunity in the PPE when just make it up.
Thank you, Lord, man.
Don't hoping for themselves. We don't need such leaders in this country.
Thank you, Lord, man. Sorry, we had to cut you. I couldn't make clearly, but I hear him clearly when he was talking about, what the former president, Jonathan, had said, that no Nigerian blood was worth, this spilling, the seat of power wasn't worth spilling any Nigerian's blood. But you see, can we not just pack all these people aside? Is it a possibility? Because, what Peter had said, if you look at statistics, trust me, there's every likelihood that the president will come out from this list. Do you understand? Because if you look at the trajectory
There's
of Nigeria,
every possibility.
there's every possibility. It doesn't seem like somebody outside of this list that we're seeing
can emerge
as president. But I've not heard Uti in a minute, and I'll come back to you, Mulola. Uti, let me hear your thoughts.
Well, Peter said it all. Like I said, whether it's 2027 or however long it is, if you don't have a plan, so maybe I guess when you said nature abhors a vacuum, right? If they all die, maybe we will now see who the next the next level is. But the reality of it is still, we're all still saying the same thing. We don't have any people who have put themselves forward consistently. The only person I can think of who maybe, in my personal knowledge, maybe I've heard multiple times, is maybe Kingsley Morgan, who is not on this list, right? But the reality of it is we don't have people who are consistent. I remember I used to say with Jimmy Akbaje, I said he pops up every 4 years. Please, what is he doing in between?
That one is the most annoying thing ever. You know what? Let Uti hold that thought. It's the most annoying thing ever. Oh, okay. I thought we lost the caller. Go ahead. Like, how do you do that? You come out every 4 years and you want to be governor. It's really ridiculous.
In between, nobody sort of knows what you're doing, and that's the same challenge that we have. Now, some school of thought will argue that these people that we have in this list, that the politics and governance of today doesn't make room for you to hear about other people. But it's like oil and water, right? It doesn't mix, and it will always rise to the top. So the reality of it for me is, who are those people today that we can even say in their own way are doing something that is, memorable or commendable, that we can even say, okay, this person might be doing something. That's why we don't have anybody on the list. It's still these same names that are bandied around. Maybe if you expand it now, there might be a few other names from Senate, but it's still the same set of people, which means that the next generation is still not doing their job. We're still not getting into that place where we're taking those seats, where when we were on the show the other day, we talked about how the different seats or levels of government, and how we're not concerned about a councillor, we're not concerned about the local government chairman. Everybody's focused on the presidency and the governor. So if you're even talking about getting into the race, people need to get started. That's why we don't have any answers, because the truth is there's nobody you can identify. There's nobody you can hold right now. It's like when, what's that movie, when the entire royal family died, and then they went and found one lone, distant relative. Maybe if that happens now, you see that, okay, somebody can rise up. But currently, we don't have anything. We just, this same set of people. But the question I wanted to ask, when we're talking about ideal president, we've talked about zoning, we've talked about federal character. Please, which tribe? Let me just take the table.
Auntie, don't bring
you want to open a can of worms right now. Uti.
No, you asked the question. Say, who is your ideal president? I'm just saying.
Can I add to that? Can I add to your question?
Yes.
Which religion? Because now there was a post by some guy.
The article, yes.
That was saying
about the Muslims, right?
Potential Muslim Western candidates. Like, really,
should be allowed.
Should that even be a conversation?
Should that be a criteria for selecting an ideal presidential candidate?
Because it's all about tribe.
Nigeria.
It's Nigeria that we are.
In the last 8 years, seen I can't even call it a widening gap. It's now a chasm between the different tribes, and we ethnic groups today, we at one point could live in harmony. That's a distant harmony. That's a distant memory now. I don't think that like for that to be capable, we'll be talking Nelson Mandela proportions. We'll be talking that kind of leader that can come and unite us again.
Exactly.
Because that's how much division we have
Has
managed
been
to
caused.
sow in our midst, or allow to flourish in our midst in the last 8 years. So as this thing goes, like I said, I just want to throw it out there.
Problem.
Where is
Problem when they finish for Nigeria. Let me come to me, Lola.
Well, there was something our first caller said, which was the power, the seat of power has been hijacked by the current leaders. There's a lot of truth in it, even though we don't understand that we gave our power away. A lot of the time we assume that there's little or nothing we can do. The challenge is how many people are willing to put themselves out there. I've been nursing the desire to run for office, but every now and again, I still look at the quality of deaths and a lot of things going on in politics, and I would think, Damilola, are you sure you want to do this? And this is where a lot of people struggle to really put themselves out there. I have to check with myself, why do you want to do it? If I cannot answer, it's not about somebody asking me and I'm giving a defensive response. Why do you want to do it? If you do not do it, what's at stake? Because we need to be able to narrow it down and ask critical questions and answer genuinely to ourselves. Why do you want to run for office? Why you? Why not someone else? We need to start from that mindset where we can volunteer ourselves a victim. Because there's a lot you have to deal with. People do not want to get their names smeared. They don't want their debts to be dogged. They don't want their past to be brought forth. They don't want anybody invading into their privacy. And there's a lot of things people are contending with personally. They do not want to be reminded of who they were in the past. And because of that, they just take their hands off the wheel and say, you know what, let them run it however way they want to run it. The seat for presidency is not something you can just wake up one morning and say, I want to vie for the seat of it. It doesn't make sense. You need years, you need experience, you need a lot of understanding the game. You have to be a master on that chessboard for you to even know what move to make next. And it's not something that a random person, just like you were talking about Jimmy Agbaje, surfaces every 4 years and vies for office, thinking that once he's done, then he packs it up and keep it in the bag and until the next 4 years. And that's literally what a lot of people do. They do not build social capital. They do not build the skin. Because let me tell you one thing about we human beings that a lot of us don't know. We evolve to a point where we cease to be who we used to be. You can totally change, wear the same body, wear the same look, wear the same thing, but you're a totally different person. And people cannot relate to the fact that you're not who you used to be. The level of growth that is required to be able to be fit, many of us have not been groomed. It takes a lot of grooming, and that's why the current leaders, if you really want to be critical, let's remove our sentiment and our expectation. These are reality.
Our reality. Let me
so who do we find amongst them that we have to choose? That's our reality. See, we groom at next level of leaders.
Problem, not the finish.
Nigeria is a very...
Kayode, are you there? You're live.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, wonderful conversation you are having there.
Thank you.
I really appreciate the analysis and the way you guys are dissecting the whole thing. Nigerian politics is not a child's play, so to say. You need to know your onions, so to say. For the young days to realize that the Nigerian election is expensive and it is a tug of war, so to say. Honestly speaking, I've witnessed a lot of elections in Nigeria from the north down to the south. You see the language they interplay when it comes to election. I don't want to call it dirty, but you need to get your hands rough. You need to know how well you can canvass and trade and negotiate before you can allow to die there. I now wonder which of the youths has that ability to die with those power brokers. So, however, we can start from somewhere. It is not a bad situation to say, right? We can negotiate our way through enhancing our strength, using our own way
So,
to
Kayode, I was
manage
going to just quickly
in
ask
politics.
you, before
How
you
do I
run,
do? Social media is there. We can network, start from the local government, start from even forming a social group, go to schools, donate to schools and some other things. It's a way
Kayode,
of you creating a pressure group, and the pressure group, if you sustain that strength, can subdue those power brokers. You understand
okay.
it? And make the public understand that there is a new breed of leaders that are not really power drunk to get to the top before they start implementing or making the necessary change. They can start making the necessary change even from their own in their own little way.
Okay, so Kayode,
So thank
I
you
didn't hear you.
guys
Oh, okay.
for the work you are doing there. I really appreciate them. Just step aside for other
All right,
families.
thank you,
so
Kayode.
much for
I
coming.
can't.
Not sure
I don't think he was
Hearing.
hearing me. I wanted to ask him that does he believe that the picture that we have put out up there is the reality of what the 2023 presidential race will look like? Do you ladies believe that this is the true picture, or you think something
There's still going to be a
yes.
surprise in us.
Do you think there would be a surprise, or this would be our reality for 2023?
There might be surprises, but so far we know that these are most likely the faces that we're going to be seeing come the build up towards the
Why is it
elections.
Sorry, Norma, to cut you. Why is it that every time with presidency or elections, it's always picking between the devil and the deep blue sea? Why? Because I remember you talking just now. You say we have to find someone that we can manage from there. Why do we have to keep doing that in Nigeria?
Because you have to grow up. You can't jump up. When you jump up, you come down. When you grow up, you stay up. It takes years. It takes growth. It takes effort. You hear what that man said. It takes a lot of funding. It takes a lot of grit. It takes a lot of experience to be able to sit in the not the White House. In Aso Rock. Yes, and that's the reality of our time. For anyone. Look at those people. They have been building. They've started from the younger cadre. There's hierarchy of beings. You have to understand and accept that first. Whether you realize it or not, you cannot just get up one day and say, I want to run for president because I am qualified. I have every quality that Norma has stated out, and then I have the desire. Even with money, it doesn't work like that. People need to see your track record. You need to build a resume for you to be considered by the party.
Okay.
I agree with you.
Let me take Oiz. I think it should be our final call. Then you have some messages. Oiz, are you there? Thank you for calling. Good evening. Thank you for calling. Let's hear what you have to say.
Yeah, good evening. Interesting topic. Would you raise the fundamental issue about zoning? From nowhere, PDP had an arrangement that it should be between South and North prior to 1999. Because of what has happened in 1993, Obasanjo did 8 years. But for my permutations and what most likely will happen from this list that you have shown, if the powers that be decide it will go to the north, it will not go beyond a Tamboa or an Atiku. If they say, okay, let's give it to the south, it will not go beyond an Ashwaju, or just by fluke, you might have a Wiki. But even if it comes to the south, who is the man that has the capacity to kind of play the kind of politics in Nigeria? It's an Ashwaju. From 1999, the man has been able to evolve. I have a grudgeful admiration for him. I might not like him because of he was able to escape some corruption charges, but the man is a benevolent dictator in the Lagos politics. For a man that fought Obasanjo, I'm not holding brief for him, but the realities of the question you asked, if it goes to the north, I've given you 2 names. If it goes to the south, I've given you 2. But does any of them have the capacity to take Nigeria to the next level? I don't know, because we all had expectations from 2015. Until 2023 comes, maybe the first 6 months or the first 100 days, we'll know that they can move Nigeria to the next level.
Thank you.
Thank you very
That
much.
was a very meaningful contribution.
Oh, problem, not the finish.
This year,
Uzi, that's my conversation tonight. Uzi, let's get your comments.
So I have a comment from Ade, and it says, "Good evening, ladies. None of the listed candidates is qualified to contest for 2023 Nigerian presidential election. These people have been in government before, now, and never plan to retire, but only interested in the national cake. They are birds of the same feather, flocking together, a cabal. We need a God-fearing, young, and energetic person. I think now is the time for them to go before Amadio to swear an oath. If they fail to do it right, Amadio will judge them. It's now time for women to be given a chance for the presidential election. UK, Liberia had females as president and prime minister, and they did well."
Absolutely. Milola is running for presidency just in case.
Are you kidding me?
No, my fire.
All right.
We'll vote for you, don't worry.
I have this one from Bissy, and she says, "Good evening, ladies. My ideal president is that person that will show empathy to the citizens, responsible, respects all, and has integrity. The person must also lead by example, should be detribalized, and I want to see a focused woman among the contestants.
Good point.
Not just to add to the numbers."
Absolutely.
Not just to, and a serious contender. Thank you.
She really spoke your mind.
Absolutely.
So who will be the serious contender? We have like 1 minute each, ladies. Quickly. Who is going first?
Contending for what?
You know, you say a serious female contender. But the thing is,
I'm going to volunteer.
You're not serious. Milola, you're not ready. Don't worry.
Like,
no, you're not ready now.
For 2023?
Yeah, you're not ready. So that's the problem. I don't like the idea of because a woman has to be there, you just throw out any woman.
Exactly,
Because
I agree
who are the
with Bisi.
women that are ready? You know, should we start looking for somebody like Kanibuka, Woshika, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, the people that we know that they are ready,
built
they can
a
actually
track
build.
record.
Thank you, that credibility is there. You know, so do we have those?
We do.
Uti, why are you smiling?
You said Ngozi Okonjo, I said she's gonna leave the WTO to come and be
She's
president
not going to
of Nigeria.
leave it. I don't think so.
Absolutely.
Obviously, Ezekwesili came out at some point. I think grooming, and I believe that we've mentioned that a couple of times, but I think this has brought even more to the fore that it's important for us to begin to prepare people.
That's it.
We need a succession plan. We cannot continue
To
to
recycle.
recycle the same group of. I mean, they have done their time.
So let them
They
go and
have,
rest.
but they too also need to think about succession plans. If I am not here today, who can I groom to take up the
think
lead
they
in
think
the
they
near
have-
future?
have
They know
eternity.
they're not going to be here
And
forever. But
it's
they want
not
to
just
run it
it's not just
until their
out-
last
it's
drop.
not just born out of selfish and
Intention,
self-centered
interest.
motivation. It has to come from a place beyond yourself
Absolutely.
and to the people.
Norma, you're so ideal in the conversation. Uti, let me give you the final
And like
word.
literally every time I listen to Norma, I feel like I'm listening to like a professor. She's so ideal, right? But I mean, we've seen the reality of what Norma is saying, whether you agree or you like it or not. We've seen it to an extent in Lagos State. To be fair, I agree with Ohis in that point, that the track record speaks for itself. And I think that Bola Tinubu has done that in at least being able to groom people to carry that succession along. Whether you agree or not, we can see the results in Lagos State. So
Absolutely.
there is something to be said for that. And whether other states can actually say, and I think that for me is where I will leave it. I think he's a classic example of when we talk about ideal presidents in Nigeria, we must talk about who that person must be. That person must be fearless. That person must be a little bit crazy. Because
Not a little bit alone.
to actually rule Nigerians,
You
is
need
no
a
joke.
crazy man to rule a woman.
You need a baba, you need
Thank
an Obasanjo type person. Yeah, so I'll
Absolutely.
leave it there. But that for me is the
Ideal.
sprinkling. That's the secret sauce.
Absolutely, we ran out of time. Thank you, Mr. Nama Uti. We had a fantastic conversation. So before we go, do ensure you follow us on Instagram at Way Show Africa. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and more importantly, we're planning a giveaway. Say thank you to you for believing in the Ways brand. So do well to follow us now. That Way Show Africa. Like, share, comment, and invite your friends and family to watch the show. If you missed today's quote, here it is again. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. We'll leave it there. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.
Ciao.